students and staff of Heritage Christian Academy. In honoring our veterans, have several special guests representing different branches of the United States Armed Forces. Our first guest is Army veteran Mr. Ron Hill, who served as an electronics interceptor operator from 1963 to 1965 in Turkey. Please help me welcome Mr. Ron Hill to HCA.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me real good? Okay. My wife said young children love vision. So y'all can forget about it over here. But we dug out of the, I can't say we, she dug out of the attic an army jacket that's been folded neatly for 50 years. She stained it a little bit so it wouldn't be too bad. Can y'all see that? That's what you get to wear. Nice and warm and keeps you dry. Nice and warm. But anyway, I had to show you so somebody would snitch on me and tell her that I didn't show you. Anyway, I'll try to get back in the bag. That's close enough. I was really honored to be asked to do this, and as to my regular answer to most questions is always yes. My wife has taught me that, and I've carried it throughout my adult life, so that when the boss says something, I say yes. When the wife says something, I say yes. Somebody called me from Christian Rule, said, would you? And I said yes. Had no idea what I was going to talk about. So let me make sure I look at the clock, keep me in line. But when I joined the Army back in 1963, I thought I'd be a radio man. And went to Fort Sumter, South Carolina, outside of Columbia, and spent 8 lovely weeks crawling in the dirt, running barbed wire, and just enjoying what I thought military life was like. Well, that was the last time I saw any of that stuff. When I left Fort Jackson, they sent me to Fort Devens, Massachusetts. For the next 6 months, I learned Morse code. And I sit there 8 hours a day with a typewriter in front of me, listening to Morse code. Does anybody know Morse code? So, some of you older people? Okay. I had a guy the other night that actually did it out and like did alpha, you know, that kind of stuff. But we had to sit there and learn Morse code so that we could type it on a typewriter, 35 words a minute. And it was just a steady blur of sound. Well, after I did that, they sent me to Fort Carson, Colorado, to just play nothing. I painted. I picked up pine cones. I did all kinds of things in the Army. They have jobs for everybody. So if you want a good learning experience, join the Army, not them other places. Because I know what the Army does. So anyway, we cleaned up, we played in the snow. We lived right at the foot of Pikes Peak at Manatee Springs. Lovely place. Me and my wife really cherished that time together. And one day in roll call, we were standing outside the barracks, and they asked, does anybody have any flight experience? I raised my hand. I always say yes. Because I had went to an air flight simulator and passed the test. I was thinking about becoming a helicopter pilot. And I wanted to do that, so they sent me to the school to make sure I could go up in the high altitudes and what have you. And I was about the last one still standing when they got to the top of wherever we were going. So anyway, I volunteered to do something about flying. So they shipped me to Sinop, Turkey. Now I know none of y'all have been to Sinop. Sinop is a northern little piece of Turkey that sits out in the Black Sea. I'm trying to think, that may be it. Anyway, it was just military men. There was not a whole lot of other people there. And I stayed there a week. Then they moved me down to Adana, Turkey, which is the opposite. It's on the Med. It's always nice and warm. Occasionally we had snow, but not a lot. So it was a lot like Brunswick. But I spent a year and a half there, and I got to fly as a crew member in a jet that all we did, we'd go up into the air and we'd fly for 7 to 8 hours, go to the Black Sea and just run up and down the Black Sea. And on the other side of the Black Sea is what? The other side of the Black Sea is Russia. So we were up there listening to what Russia had to say to us. And that's what the intercept operator part of my title. I had to really dig to remember that. It's been a long time. But I remember sitting there listening to DDBOPs, telemetry. Telemetry is electronic signals that other satellites send down to you. And that's where I got into the satellite phase of my life. From Brunswick, I had never heard of it. I remember when they launched the Sputnik back in 1957. Y'all remember that? No. I think I was in the 7th grade when that happened. So you like the 7th grade too. Anyway, we would go up and try and determine what caused that satellite to start sending its messages back to Earth. And we would listen. And there were people in Japan that would listen. There were people in other places that we didn't know all the places that was listening for that signal. During our tour there, we would fly to other countries. And we would do the same thing, run up and down the coast. Try and wait for it. We knew a satellite was coming over. They may have just launched a missile from Russia, and it had a satellite on it, so we would listen for it. And when it came over, we would always get the telemetry or the sound of what the thing was sending back, the data that it had gathered and was sending back to Earth. And we would send that to a place out in California and a place out in Washington, D.C. And they would sit there for hours and analyze that stuff. That was a big deal back in 1957 through 1967. I was in the part of the Army called the Army Security Agency. And everybody says, oh, you're a security guard. No, we were spies. And we couldn't tell anybody we were spies. Couldn't tell anybody we listened to. I got a bunch of stuff off the internet last night, and it talked about the ASA. You know, we were stationed at Incirlik Air Force Base in Adana, Turkey, and when they talked about the duties of that base and what it did, it never said a word about ASA. What it said is there was people there in the mountains listening for electronic signals. That's all they would say. And so when I got out of service, I knew I had to keep my mouth shut. And then somebody published a book saying exactly what we did. So I figured it was no longer a secret. And, but it's been 50 years. I think I had a top secret security clearance. But I think the time has elapsed for all our young people to know that when Russia beat America, it was a sad day for America. They put up a Sputnik that weighed 138 pounds. We put up a satellite shortly after that weighed, oh gosh, minuscule, 3 pounds. It was small. Because Russia's, whatever you want to call it, their design, they were forced to have rockets that had much more power than we did because we had special stuff. But anyway, my life in the Army ended in 65. They let me out 2 months early. I really enjoyed my time in the military. I sometimes am embarrassed when they say veterans would please rise. Because I didn't have a hard time in service. I didn't see gunfire, I didn't see anything. Although we had weapons and we wore them when we flew to other countries. But I remember the people who died as a military person. That's the sad part to me. That's what maybe one of the reasons I volunteered to go in the military, because I know people were dying to keep us safe. And I want to do my part, but I didn't know it. I would have so much fun and meet so many people. And still today I am meeting people that was in the same outfits. We were a small detachment of about 25 men sitting at the backside of Incirlik Air Force Base. Nobody knew we were there. We were just in a Quonset hut, some metal rounded hut that you keep your tools in, or maybe your tractors or something. But anyway, make a long story short, I loved it, I enjoyed it. I wish everybody could have had the experience I had. I know it's a one-time deal for most of us. So remember those who gave it all, and that will be something that you can guide your life by and plan your way. And always say, yes, I'll volunteer. Okay? Thank you.